everyone, Frank and Darren back again, the Slaughterland Movie Podcast, talking about the best and worst of, well, for many of you, just the worst of Halloween Ends. Darren, you and I both saw this. You saw a little earlier before me. You saw it on Thursday at a world premiere, and you were smiling and giggling, and you were kicking up your heels down the whatever you were, Carfax Abbey, where the fuck this thing was playing at.
Carfax Abbey. It was the UK premiere. I wasn't at the world premiere, and it wasn't really a premiere. It was the first UK screening. But they treat it kind of like a premiere. You know, they had like a kind of photograph area and all sorts of kind of cool exhibits,
cover sandwiches.
Yeah, and a couple of Michaels wandering around with dodgy masks on, that sort of thing. Yeah, it was that sort of thing, you know. And, you know, we walk up the stairs and they've kind of like, there's bats on the wall and bats. And it was walking up the stairs, there was like pumpkins, bats, what do they call them? Like stencils of witches and things like that. And over the top of that was Loomis's speech. I watched him sitting in a room, staring at a wall. But anyway, we're here to talk about Halloween Ends.
There'll be plenty of time for us to talk about each other's feelings and everything like that. We're going to get right into this, and maybe through the little clues that we're going to give, you'll be figuring out where each one of us stands on this movie. But let's get to it because, Darren, we will have plenty of time to do so. You're going to push this out right away as soon as we're done because we plan on having a live chat eventually. Really quick.
Tuesday, I hope. Tuesday.
Focusing on the people, not on us, but on the people and addressing their concerns.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? That's what we're going to call it, I think. What are your thoughts on Halloween Ends? And it'll be kind of not listening to us crow on about it. It'll be us listening to you crow on about it and telling us what you think. So I think that'll be fun.
Absolutely. We got to give back to the people because if it weren't for the people, we wouldn't be here. Okay, let's start out. Your best character, Halloween Ends, 2022.
Best character in this. Okay, so I got to say Corey Cunningham. It's it's a tough question to ask because there's characters in there which have been there throughout the series and throughout these David Gordon Green movies that are just either kind of underutilized or completely wasted or don't even really have anything to do with the movie whatsoever. And so Corey was kind of, regardless of my thoughts on the film, I thought Ryan Campbell put in a really cool performance. He's actually really good in this, I think. And I watched it again this morning, and there were a few moments where he reminds me of two people. Okay. He reminds me of two people in movie history. Scorpio in Dirty Harry. Okay. You look at the two of them, right? When he's losing it, Corey Cunningham, he reminds me of Andrew Robinson's portrayal of Scorpio in Dirty Harry.
Oh, not Julia.
No. Not Hellraiser. No. Scorpio in Dirty Harry, and he also. He also reminds me of, and people are going to scoff at this, but hear me out, Tony Moran. Okay, so Laurie has only ever seen Michael Myers once. She's only ever looked into his eyes once without that mask on. And that guy was Tony Moran. You look at Corey and you look at Tony Moran and the hairstyle and everything. She talks about, I've looked into his eyes and I've seen Michael in his eyes. I think it was a conscious effort here to make Corey look as much as possible like Tony Moran in the original Halloween movie. If you just look at when he takes the mask off and the hair and everything, they've got the same sort of haircut. He's around about the same height and build and everything. And I just wonder whether that was a conscious effort to make him look like Tony Moran from the original 1978 film. So there's that link there between Jamie Lee Curtis and between Laurie Strode and Michael, because the only time she has ever seen him is when she pulled his mask off in 78. So those are the two people that Rowan Campbell reminds me of. And I think he did a good job in this. Regardless of what my thoughts on the film are, I thought that he was the strongest character in the film.
I agree with you, and that was very deep, Darren. I kind of see your point there. I thought he looked like Ed Sheeran myself.
Who? Ed Sheeran?
Ed Sheeran myself. No, but I can see what you. For me, it's also Corey. He carried this movie. When we went into the theater, you were expecting to see Michael, but it turned into, as Reese Wilson said on Dave's channel, Corey and Laurie, a love story. And he carried this movie, and he's absolutely the best character. I expect good things from this guy. And my wife told me that one of the reasons why he got this role is because he can ride a bike. He can actually drive a motorcycle.
Okay.
As one of his, because I guess they didn't want to get a stunt guy, but he can actually ride a dirt bike.
Okay.
But yeah, he carried this movie. If this movie wasn't about Michael or about Halloween and just came with a different title and was about him coming into a new slasher like a Leslie Vernon or Leslie Verne or whatever his last name is called, I could follow it. I could follow him. He did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Knowing that the fans could probably be toxic.
Yeah.
To him. Yeah. All right. The worst category as we go through, ladies and gentlemen, is probably going to be really quick out of our mouths in our own different opinions. But Darren, your worst character or characters in this movie.
I'm going to say that there's two.
For me, there's two as well.
Okay. So first one is Dr. Mathis.
Okay.
So this movie is obviously really, the more I watch it, and I've watched it twice now, the more I watch it, the more I'm seeing more of Halloween 3 in this film. From the opening credits to the fact that Allison works in the hospital, to the kind of lechy Atkins-esque doctor that they have there in Dr. Mathis, kind of pretty much the same sort of character, thinks he's great with the young girls, a bit overconfident, middle-aged, lech, who needed dealing with, let's put it that way. He didn't have any of the charm of Tom Atkins whatsoever, but that character was obviously put there as some sort of kind of loose homage to Dr. Chalice. There's also scenes in the junkyard and things which are reminiscent of Halloween 3. There's little subtle things now and again which kind of remind me a lot of that film, and particularly the way it's lit as well. When you get those scenes with Atkins at night, kind of bumbling around on his own, hiding from the Shamrock guys, there's very similar moments in this film. I think that the second worst character, and I'm not saying that he's the worst character because I don't like the character or I don't like the actor, because I do love the character and I love the actor. But I think Hawkins was just wasted in this film completely.
Wow.
Hawkins was wasted. They made us invest in this character to the point of bringing him back in Halloween Kills. After he'd clearly been killed, people loved that character. They brought him back. They made the second movie about him. They made that second film, Hawkins movie. As we were chatting to Dave the other day, 2018 is Laurie's movie. Halloween Kills is Hawkins' movie, pretty much. And then with this film, they just relegate him to... I'm not even sure whether he's a cop still in this film. He talks about being down at the station with the guys, but is he just Is he retired and friendly with them? I know he's keeping busy by learning Japanese and things like that, but does he still have some sort of link to the police station?
I believe so, because he must be a detective.
I'm guessing so. Clothes. It doesn't really clearly kind of state what he is, but he
is
just
kind of Dewey.
He's a little bit like that, but he just he's like what you were when you were younger. You were a cop. What was it? You were a fucking mall cop or something, weren't you?
Yeah, I was a Paul Blart.
But yeah, it's almost like they park him in the wings to kind of come into it at the beginning and be there at the end. This could have been his movie as much as Laurie's. He has unfinished business. And for him to just be relegated, I don't know whether he was making another film at the time or whether he just couldn't fit it in, or I've no idea, but he should have been front and center with Laurie in this film, with Laurie and Allison. And they just lose him. He's just not part of it whatsoever. It's such a shame because he's such a great character and everybody loved him, and that's why they brought him back. But missed opportunity.
Cherry blossoms. Is it weird too? Because when we first encounter him, he's all disheveled. His hair's not fixed. We meet him at the supermarket, grocery store, and you would think that they would get together. They almost died with each other. They're in the same room. They're opening up their feelings. He said, I really liked you, but I know you liked Ben Tramer first, and they're holding hands and everything. And but no, he's cherry blossoms. And he's like, at the end, I gave you some extra long cucumbers in those vegetable basket. I'd
be like, well, aren't you going to at least fucking cook it for me? But I know what you mean. Will Patton seems to have aged quite significantly over the last sort of 4 years. I don't know whether there
has moved on.
Yeah, I kind of get that. I that's probably what they were aiming for, but you didn't have to do that. You could have been front and center in this. We could have had somebody, the two of them to rally behind, But he's just kind of, like you say, he's slightly disheveled. I'm guessing that's from the trauma that he's been through over the last 4 years or whatever. But yeah, wasted opportunity. So unfortunately, Dr. Mathis and Frank Hawkins are my worst characters in this.
That's not very obvious. I thought you'd be more of a man that would pick the obvious. Dr. Mathis is my hero in this movie. I think he actually introduced me to a new cutout I may just have. But
what of him? Oh,
not of him, but of his assistant. Whatever her name is. It doesn't matter what her name is at this
Allison.
point, does it?
No, it's you mean Allison.
The other one. The redhead.
Okay, got you.
Hawkins was a missed opportunity, as well as Lindsay, also a missed opportunity. She's a barmaid.
Reading tarot cards.
Yeah, I mean, for Christ's sake. She didn't even, she's been affected by Michael. Everyone has been affected by Michael in this movie. Laurie Strode has probably been affected more than anybody, but everyone else has closure. I was like, he's gone. What else do you want? A lot of missed opportunity with those characters. I agree with you. You just made me think about it. Pretty good. Thanks.
But let me ask you this, though. You said everybody's had closure. Everybody's had closure. Why have they had closure? Because he's missing. He never died. He just vanished. And as much as I loved the start of this film and seeing Laurie Strode like a kind of grown-up version of what we got in 1978, kind of really all sort of prissy and preppy and with her little cardigans on and pottering around her house, carving pumpkins and things like that. Why is she not like even worse than what she was in Halloween 2018? Because that guy's still out there. He's killed her daughter. It's almost like nobody mentions it. It's he's missing, but as a town, you'd be fucking looking for him, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, there'd be wanted posters all over the place. Yeah. They'd be on the lookout still for him, and everyone says, "Well, COVID played a significant role." What significant? It's not even mentioned in this damn movie. It just says he's been missing for 4 years. That's because there was a 4-year gap between when they got out 18 and with this finale. That's the only 4-year gap. But everyone had closure because I think they just moved on. But Laurie's actually moved on better than anybody.
She has, hasn't she?
Yeah,
it's just like she's really parked it and kind of gone back to her original self.
But according to her memoir, she said she's been there for Allison. She has a bigger opportunity to take care of her because she doesn't have the mother anymore.
Yeah. And those memoirs as well. Did you see the title of them?
Shapes?
No, it was
Stalkers,
Saviors, and Sarwayne.
Oh, Christ's sakes. And Sherbert.
But that again in itself, because has there ever been a link to Sarwain before within this trilogy?
No.
Did what's his face mention it in 2018? Sartain.
No, I don't think
he did he?
No.
So where is she getting that from? Where is she getting that from?
I don't know. It was better than her original title.
What was that?
To Serve Man. It's a Twilight Zone reference there. And never mind.
Fair enough.
We'll move on. Colin Murdy, that's for you.
Just on that though, is that not another kind of, because you see it on that kind of memoir that she's writing? Yeah. Is that not another kind of, you have to, and it's slightly out of focus as well. Is that not another kind of nod to Halloween 3?
Oh, it is, but I mean, good Christ, I think we're really diving into it, really getting deep here.
I don't know. No, I'm just looking for these kind of, I just think that there's a lot more Halloween 3 in here than what people realize on the surface. That's all.
Okay. Can I continue?
Yeah, go. With pleasure.
My worst characters are probably two of the obvious characters. Well, there's 4 characters and then another character, and one is that pussy marching band that nobody can ever stand up to. Corey can't beat the shit out of those little bitches. The marching band.
Those little kids.
Darren, in school, the marching band. Were they the toughest people you ever knew? Ever?
We don't have marching bands here.
Oh, okay.
What are you talking about? We don't even have cheerleaders.
Okay. The people that played the drums during the guillotine,
okay.
Those guys. Over here, the only person you didn't mess with in the marching band was the guy who played the tuba, because he's usually 300 pounds. And also Doug. I have to give Doug, what an asshole. What a complete asshole. Did you miss me?
What was she thinking?
She's really
did Hawkins set her up on a blind date or something?
Oh,
he was a piece of work, wasn't he?
Wasn't he? Oh, I was glad he actually was gone. What an asshole.
Yeah, he is.
So for me, the marching band and Doug. Why does the marching band have to be there? Why do the high school kids have to be there? They're probably like 17, barely 18. Why couldn't it be like, other townspeople? Why couldn't it be Jeremy's parents? That the Jeremy's parents that kept on following him, and they were divorced or something like that in this movie after that accident.
Yeah, that's right.
So why couldn't it be, Jeremy's older brother or sister or some kind of relative? No, you got to pick the fucking marching band.
Well, those kids were again. It's another kind of Christine nod. With the bullies in the school, and that's what it is. Is it? It's Halloween 3 and Christine that appear to be at the root of this film. And Arnie Cunningham was bullied by those school kids, wasn't he? And I think this is kind of sort of mirroring that.
Great. We got a flaming pumpkin running over fucking kids, going down the street like Christine. No comparison. All right, your best line.
Okay, best line in this is. It's at the end. We'll talk about the ending later, but there's a shot at the end where Laurie turns around to Michael and says, "I thought you were the boogeyman, but no, you're just a man who's about to stop breathing." And that was my favorite line in the film.
Do you think his death was actually kind of poetic?
I liked it. I liked the kitchen scene. I liked. I liked the fact that Michael they recognized his age and his capabilities. I think I liked that he was older. I liked that he was weakened. I don't like the way they shot him being weakened in the sewers and everything. I thought that was fucking terrible. But I liked the fact that they kind of relegated him to a level that was sufficient enough for Laurie to be able to take him on. And so it kind of made, there were stakes in that kitchen scene. And what I loved about that sequence was it was like some sort of crucifixion. And I liked the idea of having him bleed out. I thought that was a great idea for the original Halloween 2018, and I was happy with it. I thought it was done horrifically. I thought Christopher Nelson's work on that was fantastic. He did the neck slash and the and the wrist slash as well, the vertical wrist slash. I was happy with that, and they should have left it there. I didn't care for the procession or anything like that.
No, it's you strangle on your own blood. You know, you cough up on it and everything. But the wrist thing, you know, it's just it seems like it was more peaceful than what he deserved.
But you know, I wouldn't have taken him out to do that fucking procession when everybody in his, that was like the Queen's funeral, for God's sake. Everybody in his dog comes out. Exactly. How did they know that this was happening? And Barker's like, this is happening and all this sort of stuff.
Facebook Live.
Yeah, Facebook Live. Why did they have to do that? Why did they have to do this terrible moment of Michael crowd surfing down the street like a friggin' a Pearl Jam concert or something like Teen Wolf, yeah. And really kind of just go one bit too far. Yeah. Watching him go through that mincing machine was just like, we don't need to see that. What are you doing? I would have been quite happy with them just torching him on the tabletop in the kitchen. Yeah, you know, just throwing a match on him and walking away, and then we see him like the end of Halloween 2, where he's just kind of burnt away. That would have been fine. That would have been absolutely fine. I know fire they've used so many times before in Halloween 2 and Resurrection and 2018, but this wasn't fire to kill him. This would have been fire to just get rid of his remains. That's all. He died because they slit his throat and his wrists. Yeah, bled out. Yeah, bled out. I think that was the perfect way to do it, but I would have ended it right there when Hawkins walked in. Put him in a crate and stuff him underneath the university steps, only to be discovered 150 years later. There's your anthology episode. My best line comes from Corey's mom. Because your boogeyman disappeared, they needed a new one. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true about society. When something negative and when people are focused, their anger on disappears, they always move to something else. Yeah. Yeah. And it just so happened to be Corey. Yeah. And this kid unjustly was ridiculed and chastised for his whole life. He was going to go to college to be an engineer. That didn't happen. He had to work at Ronald's junkyard being a mechanic in order to make ends meet. And he didn't deserve anything. But the judge called it an accident. He was let go. And but yeah, I don't think it's so funny because it's not just like that with society in general. Isn't it with us in movies and YouTube clips and people's opinions? I mean, as soon as something negative comes up and that disappears, we need another negativity story to latch on exactly. To. It's the same thing. So I thought that was a good line. All right, I got a number of worse lines, so you can go ahead first with your worst. So this one, as I said earlier, I was really enjoying watching a domesticated Laurie just kind of pottering around and being Laurie Strode. For the first 15 minutes, I was thinking, this is good. This really feels like Laurie Strode of old now. Until she says this line, which is just like... It's probably my line too, but go ahead. It's probably straight out of Danny McBride's mouth, which is, you need to find someone that can let go. That makes you want to rip off your shirt and show grief, show your fucking tits and say you want... I can't even fucking say it. I'm going to say that again. You need to find someone that can let... you need to find someone that you can let go. You want me to say it for you? No. You need to find someone that can let go, that makes you want to rip off your shirt and show grief your fucking tits and say, you know what? Let's go. Darren, I'm crossing that off my list right now. It was so un-Laurie-like. Oh. Completely, like I don't know, and she throws the mashed pumpkin on the floor and then the scene cuts to something else. And I was sat in the theater going, where'd that come from? It was like a moment from The Exorcist where Regan started bloody cursing or something. It was just weird line. Obviously one of Danny McBride's numbers. And I don't know what it did to the plot. What it did for the plot, I've no idea. It just kind of, I think, left a few of us feeling a bit embarrassed. You want to pull down your pants and show grief your tits? Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's on Laurie. Like she's Laurie is this sweet, innocent person, but I know she's trying to connect with Allison by saying, "Live your life, go out there, get drunk, go have fun, go get pregnant by someone you don't know," stuff like that. That's how she wants to be that person because she never lived it. She's never had it.
Yeah,
And she says you can have a good life. That you can have a good life. Being somewhere else and showing your titties somewhere else. Well, we didn't see him, so thanks, Laurie, for that advice to Allison. We didn't see him. So I got 2. Well, there was 3. You took one.
Okay.
Was boys who keep secrets don't get custard for dessert. Are you implying something, Mom?
Yeah.
And then I was looking for Ronald to go, but we're supposed to have cake. What's this custard thing you're referring to, Joan? Oh, a little Carrie-esque right there. And another one was from DJ Willie. And it says, I know the Laurie Strode story. She teased a man with brain damage and he snapped.
Yeah. A bit like with that arm.
Yeah.
It was like taking a tree off a branch off a tree or something.
Yeah. You teased a man with brain damage and he snapped. Well, you know what? That may be true. We saw the beginning of Kill Bill 1 and how Uma Thurman got out of her brain damage.
Yeah.
We can't talk about that. Okay.
No. We might do one day. I do like those films.
Yeah, the teasing a man with brain damage. So they actually took Michael. Michael was never the the murderer, this killer that's going around. Everyone's blaming Laurie. Maybe, and that goes to proof because he's gone. They got to blame somebody. It's the psycho and the freak show.
Yeah.
Okay, your best kill. This was actually quite hard for me. Actually,
I think there's a few of them. I think there are a few happy accidents in there. I think the tongue on the turntable, even though it's not. Well, it's a Corey kill, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was a fun moment, was that, when he cuts the guy's tongue out and it just bounces around on the vinyl. But I do think the best kill for me is one that we've already spoken about, and that was Michael's. That's exactly how I wanted to see him go, was to just be bled out. I didn't want us to get to the stage where we were kind of, launching Black Hawks at him and
rocket
launchers and someone in a tank, someone on a giraffe, and it was just like we didn't need any of that. We just
pet lions.
Something simple that shows that, because they really touch on the supernatural part in this midway through with his interaction with Corey, but then they kind of bring it back to earth at the end and just say, you're just a man, and slit his throat, and he dies like a man. So I kind of liked that. It kind of, for me, that brings the whole thing back full circle. But yeah, just leave out the procession. Jesus, we've had enough processions this year. We don't need any more.
And we're continuing. There's still more to go through.
We've got a few next year, I think.
What are you guys going to do for Angela Lansbury, the poor girl?
Well, we're not going to take her to the junkyard, if that's what you're thinking.
Poor Angela Lansbury.
Yeah,
Bed knobs and grinders.
Peace. Yeah, rest in peace.
Miss Fletcher. I was going to say the DJ. It was a little comical, but a lot of my favorite kills weren't from Michael. It was from Corey, and one of them being the junkyard. And the one that made me laugh and cringe at the same time was actually 2 of them. One being the blowtorch into the mouth, which was that was fantastic. And the other one was the head stomp, but it was the running over of the tow truck afterwards that actually got me giggling.
That got a big reaction in the theater. Did that as well?
A big perm on Margot. That girl. You would think
she did.
You would think her hair would protect her from. She's got a big, huge head of hair. Damn. All right, your worst kill. No,
nothing wrong with that at all.
I guess depending on where it is. For me, it's on my back. Could
be worse. Could have been coming out your nose
or ears or something, right? Oh, your worst kill.
Worst kill, I think, has to be, I've forgotten his name, Doug? Is that her ex?
Yeah.
That whole sequence is, in terms of a Halloween movie, is pretty embarrassing.
Okay.
Michael, so vulnerable. And what ends up, what ends up happening is like some really crappy, I don't know, WCW wrestling match or something. Like a tag team thing that's going on there where they're jumping between each other and throwing each other around. I mean, that scene was bad enough, but then when you get to the bit where Corey goes in for the mask and we just get that kind of silhouetted fight where they go past the camera and then go past again. It was like something out of Benny Hill for sure. Awful. Whose idea was that? We didn't need to see that at all. You could have shot it so much better. You really could have done. But what resulted was, like I say, some really kind of half-assed backyard wrestling match or something.
It's like Michael said, here comes the kid. All right, grease myself up to not get caught. It's like Jason Statham when he put the oil all over him in Transporter. That's how he got out. But I know what a lot of people are saying. Michael should not be that vulnerable. But when we get into it, ladies and gentlemen, he did really get the shit kicked out of him a little bit.
What, in Kills or in this? Or?
In Kills. So
Yeah.
Irons are his kryptonite. You see Michael get out a good old steaming iron. For me, my worst kill is Joan Corey's mom. Never seen. Wouldn't you want to see him go after his mother and see what he's done? Darren, we've seen behind the scenes where she's protecting herself with a pillow and everything. She's screaming.
Yeah.
We haven't seen it. It's not.
There's so much.
What's going on there?
So much in the trailer, isn't there, that's not in the film? So much in both trailers that's not in this film. And things that are just kind of totally recut, like the scene where Corey walks up the stairs into Laurie's bedroom. That's just completely relegated to the door being pushed open. Mm-hmm. There's so much stuff. I mean, and for God's sake, there's a moment in the trailer where I think Laurie's talking to Allison in the police car. Yeah. And that's not in the film at all. That's moments in the film, but that particular shot and whatever dialogue was exchanged isn't in the film. So there's so much, isn't there?
What about the one where Corey says, "What are you going to do when Michael comes back for you?"
Exactly.
Because he's still out there.
Talk about that sequence. That sequence when he's on the steps. Is he imagining that? Is that a dream sequence? It's just bizarre because he's talking away and then the next minute she's not there. She's vanished completely.
Like Batman.
It's odd, isn't it? I mean, it's an interesting exchange, but I was really, and I watched it again this morning. I said to my wife, I said, are we meant to think that this is some sort of, hallucination or something? It's bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know. If she followed him, apparently, of course. There's got to be an extra half hour of deleted footage, right? At least coming out.
Yeah, there must be plenty of stuff out there that they didn't use.
Yeah, because for me, Joan, Corey's mom, those are behind the scenes photos we saw. We saw her, protecting herself, trying to protect herself with a pillow. And it'd be nice to see what Corey was going to do to his mom, and then what kind of frustration he was going to take out. But then we just see her just all bloody on the floor, and no one saw it, really, because Allison was at the door, ringing the doorbell, knocking. Nobody saw, and if they would have saw what he did to his mom, they would have probably said, "This is Corey. Corey did this," and Allison would have, put two and two together, of course.
Yeah,
but it's just, when we see behind the scenes footage and it looks like you put a lot of effort into it and it's not in the movie, but more than anybody, a lot of shit just gets thrown down.
Of course.
All right. Your best moment.
The kitchen sequence.
That's
I honestly, I mean, it's the only bit that kind of is remotely like something from a Halloween film. In fact, that whole sequence from Corey coming into the house and getting shot and choosing the suicide route and not the cherry blossom is Well, that's
grabs one of her cucumbers and tries to stab himself. He's like, oh, ew.
And it's just a shame that they gave so much away in the trailer from the kitchen scene. I know that she was on a chat show in the UK on Graham Norton, and they pretty much showed 50% of that kitchen scene. It was, and I do like the bit when he gets stabbed in the chest that he just, in order to get her off him, he does the kind of power sit up. I thought that was a really cool moment. And as I said earlier, I love the fact that they kind of almost like crucify him in there. It was everything I wanted it to be. I've always said I wanted it to be a kind of small, intimate, sort of claustrophobic finale, and I think that's what we got. A lot of people are disappointed with it. I think in the scheme of the movie, it was just a relief to have something that felt like Halloween happen. So it's probably the best moment of the film.
I agree with you. I love the kitchen scene. It's too short, very too short. And the extra 20 minutes of this movie, and I think a lot of people would have appreciated this movie a little bit more if the finale, like I always said, it's not the middle of the movie that you have to worry about or the beginning. It's the way that this quadrilogy, let's call it a trilogy. Let's really call it a trilogy, is going to end. That's the most important thing. Like even with Return to the King, you have to end it. Same thing with Star Wars. Which way are you going to end it? And it's just too short. It should have been more chases through the house, more of her mimicking what she did back in 78, hiding in the closets and him busting through instead of using, some kind of cheese to blow up in the microwave as a distraction when he could see it, or maybe him, going into a room filled with a whole bunch of pumpkins and the glare, could have been something like that. Then it could have been with her when she's pumpkin fucking everything or in every scene in this movie. She's always making a pumpkin in every part of this damn movie.
If you ever watch, I don't know if anybody's ever watched him. He's kind of a acquired taste, but he does make me laugh. The Maestro Megatron.
Yes.
He has his own. He has his own. Shout out to Scott, who's the Maestro Megatron. He has his own channel, whereas he kind of talks Halloween, but he hates this new Halloween stuff. And
with a passion.
Scott is like this huge guy. I presume he's in LA, given the neighborhood that he lives in and the people that live around him.
With a nice beard.
With a nice beard. And he really balls out this franchise. And he's kind of like a WWE, an 80s WWE wrestler. It reminds me of that, the way he talks to the camera, always shouting and, kind of, he's a stand-up comedian, I think, as well. So check him out. But
he's passionate.
Yeah, he's passionate. He's passionate. But he has a real bee in his bonnet about that microwave dinging. like Michael Myers jumps out of his skin because the ping.
My hungry man. And then he cleans the microwave, right? He's like,
yeah. But yeah, thanks, Maestro Megatron. You've given me a few laughs over the last few weeks with this. So
it's this the kitchen scene should have been a little bit longer. And you know what I think the finale should have been? It should have been maybe Laurie, Allison, Frank, and Lindsay all take a stab at Michael. I mean, it'll go to prove a point, and maybe Hawkins shoots Michael in the head like he tried to do or prevent Loomis from doing in the flashback, and also what he was going to do when Sartain was there. And
that would have been enough. That would have been satisfying if Allison and Laurie are in there, they've stabbed him, he's dead, and Hawkins walks in and wants to be sure and just shoots him in the head. That would have been, just desserts, I think. That would have been enough.
Yep, but keep it going on longer. Don't have any microwaves or Home Alone fucking traps. Fucking microwave. The
Ding.
number one. It's done. Michael going, I've been living off rats and homeless ass for all day, and that hungry man smells pretty good.
Homeless ass?
Oh man, I never had homeless ass, but whatever.
I should think not as well.
Too salty. All right, there. Before we end, we're going to read some quotes. You put up a little poll and with some comments. So let's read some of these out. What the people are talking about with this movie.
Yeah, so over the weekend. Obviously, Frank and I have been dark for a few days while we both saw the film and chatted about it. I haven't really watched many other people's thoughts on the film. What I thought I'd do over the weekend was just interact with our kind of subscriber base and people on Twitter and our YouTube community. And so I put a poll out there on, I think it was some point last night. We've had around about 700 votes on it so far. And the question was, Halloween ends, so what do you want next? Okay, I put 5 options there. 1 was a lengthy break. 2 was a Jamie Lloyd continuation. 3 was an anthology. 4, a Michael Myers reboot. And 5, leave it, I'm fucking done. So the results are in, and I'll bring these up on the screen now. As you can see, most people in the fan base, by quite a clear margin, want a lengthy break now. They just want it to go away and then maybe come back in the future. 17% of the vote with people saying that's it, they don't want any more. And then interestingly, an anthology is the second most popular thing there. And we said when I chatted with you on Thursday night after I'd first seen this, I'd spotted a review on Rotten Tomatoes. I'll bring this up now. The first thing that struck me about this film was it felt like an anthology, and I kind of agree with Dave that we don't really need. I think it was Bruce actually that said it, wasn't it? That we didn't need Michael in this film. It almost feels like we've had our first Halloween anthology film. How do you feel about that, Frank?
It feels like we're at Christmas dinner. We ate the Christmas dinner, and then they said, "What about your seconds of Christmas dinner?" You're like, "I can't eat any more damn turkey." Come on. It's. We like Michael Myers. The way he went out was not the way it should have been went out, but an anthology route was probably the best way to go with this character setup. And at the end, you could have had, if you wanted to go that route, the end credits, Corey sitting up.
Yeah. Great idea. I need to shout out somebody, and it was I can't remember the person's name, but this was on Instagram the other day. At the end, when they do the kind of almost like OG Halloween ending, when they flash the camera around different areas where the action's taken place, it would have been interesting if they'd have gone to the hallway and Corey's body was gone. And just left it at that. Just a little something, a little sparkle there. That, and I'm not saying bring back Corey Cunningham, but just to kind of put across that the franchise is still alive in some way, which we know it's going to come back. Okay, let's get to some comments from our poll that we did yesterday. So the first one is a guy called Casey Crowland. And he says pretty much what I just said, which was, we literally just got an anthology. Take a break and go back to Myers.
Next one from El Rafa said, they should do a new story, but like they did that throwback scene in Kills is how it should be shot. Like they wants the flashback scene. He wants everything like that. Everyone loves that the flashback scene in Kills. I never met anybody that said it sucked.
You kind of into a sort of period Halloween movie, maybe?
Maybe black and white, something like that.
That'd
maybe
be interesting.
Maybe someone not like Myers, but something with the mask looking like that.
Yeah,
maybe the evil of Haddonfield or something like that. Whatever.
Not period as in like, everybody's supping cups of tea like Downton Abbey or anything, but just kind of 50s America or something like that.
Yeah. The harmonophone.
Jace Bales, a friend of ours, one of our Patreons, says, anthology, a very lengthy break from Myers, though. It's time for Freddy and JC to take... JC? Him. It's time for Freddy and Jason to take over for a long while.
Agreed. Yeah,
I agree.
Yep, get these guys back in the fold. Probably our favorite here is from Andromeda 1741. He wants a fucking apology.
I did like that one. That was great.
Oh, that's our subscribers. God bless you.
Simon says, anthology is the only way to go now, I think. After seeing the David Gordon Green trilogy, I think I just want to consider 1978 a standalone movie, which is what it was always supposed to be. But talks, and we always get sequels, reboots, prequels. Okay, which is what it was always supposed to be. I wonder what John Carpenter thinks of it all, really. He's just happy to play Xbox and see the checks rolling in. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I don't think he cares as long as he's got his money
Every
from
time
it.
that theme plays, right? His lasting impression on that on this series has always been, every time it says created by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, music by John Carpenter, Alan Howarth, or whatever, is always giving him checks. Always, and that's all he says.
Yeah.
He put my money out, and magically a check comes into it. He loves it. Next one from The Devil's Eyes. That's Quentin again, isn't it? I'm torn between an anthology series or doing a direct sequel to H4 with an older Jamie and Rachel and negating the shit show that is Halloween 5. P.S. Looking forward to your videos on Ends. Yeah, you know what? Everyone always is talking about doing something after Halloween 4. Why not? We're fucking up this franchise and series as we go along. A little more chicken shit into the fucking barn is not going to ruin it.
It would be fun. It would be fun. I just don't know how you pitch it to an audience. I think if they did it as kind of a Netflix series or something like that, you know, as a standalone, but a sequel within there, if you see what I mean, like they did with Halloween 2018, then that might work. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But
this is how you start it. You know, if you're going to do Halloween 4, you start it with Danny McBride, David Gordon Green, and Jason Blum coming out and having a conference like the CEO of BP at the oil spill down at the Gulf and saying, sorry.
Yeah, a bit like our prime minister at the moment.
We're sorry.
Anthony Soto says, I'm overjoyed that we can now go back to talking about literally anything else. Was never into the Halloween series, no matter how much I try. Worst of the big three, in my opinion. Yet we're looking forward to getting back to talking about something else as well. We've got a lot kind of, you know, ideas and that to sort of push the channel forward. I mean, this isn't a Halloween channel, really. We've done a lot of Halloween recently, but at the heart of it, we're a horror, sci-fi, you know, nostalgia channel. So it'd be good to kind of continue that at some point. And hopefully you'll all stay with us when we do that. Who else is there?
We got Duke. Duke goes, I'm done with Halloween. However, an anthology would definitely work for me. That's Duke Fleet. You know, good guy Duke is.
Yeah, and George Stegall as well, who's another one of our patrons. And he wants an apology too. So not very popular with George, this film.
We got Jason Nike from the J-Man's Movie Cage, says he still needs to see Ends. You know, there's still time, Jason, of course. He says, I think anthology is the way to go. So many stories you can tell on Halloween. I'm saying that a Jamie Lloyd continuation could be could have perfect potential. Yeah, it could. Yeah. You know, it always make those Daniel Harris fans come back.
Yeah. Yeah, Bullfrog J says, Ends left me bitter. I'm done with Halloween for a long time. A Jamie Lloyd continuation from 5 or something could be cool down the line.
Nick P. Yep, Nick P says, anthology all the way. Let's get some good, creepy, original horror stories during Halloween. Maybe Carpenter can write and or score and to give the film a good, tense, field retro feel.
Okay. Matthew Jensen says, the fan in me will always want more, but realistically, I would like a good break, then possibly see an anthology, but wouldn't be mad if they brought Myers back.
I'm probably in that boat, Darren. I'm probably in that boat.
Yeah.
Darth Pug. Darth Pug. A Smith's Grove show or Tales of the Patients from the Grave, or from the Grove, actually, would be fun. From the Grove. Okay. Yeah. Tales from the Grove.
Like Grove. Like a kind of Alfred Hitchcock Presents or something like that, you know?
Files from Loomis.
The files from the files of Dr. Loomis. Yeah, something like that might be fun.
Police Squad.
Yeah. Did you see Liam Neeson's going to play Frank Drebin?
Would that be? I think actually I would want to go see that actually because he would be a straight face. That's the best thing about Naked Gun. Ladies and gentlemen, we're taking a break for a second. The best thing about Naked Gun in the files from Police Squad was that anytime somebody said anything out of line, they just stare off like, did I just hear that? and seeing Liam Neeson will actually probably make me laugh doing that too. Like, huh? What? All right, last one.
The last one is from Kane B. And Kane says, I want a game next. Yeah, I mean, I'd be down. I'm not a massive gamer or anything. If anything comes along that sort of tickles my fancy, I'll have a go. I'm always kind of into the Last of Us sort of things and
Yeah.
GTA and things like that. But I'd love a kind of open world Halloween game. I think that'd be really smart. Finally, Frank, that was the last of the comments we have to read out. But before we go, we've got a lot of shout outs to do here. So I'm just going to quickly do them all.
Please.
We have 3 new Patreons. Elizabeth Schmidt, Chad Prosser, and Denise Matthews are our latest Patreons. So thank you very much, guys, for signing up to the channel. It's really, really appreciated. And in terms of YouTube members, and bearing in mind we chuck a few freebies out there the other day for everyone. But we want to shout out Wayne Bonner, Skate Toon, who's upgraded recently, Jeff Hill, Eden Walters, Batshit Scary, Yorkshire Horror, Ian Sylvester, Matthew Jensen, Katie Boyd, Future Dead Camper, Shalloween XO, AK Channel TV, Danita Brown, Brandon Collins, Jace Bales, Shamrock Balls, and Will Brown. All of you, thank you so much for signing up to the YouTube membership program. It's great to have you on board.
Great. They're all a big part of a big growing community. We're all friends here. We haven't had too many, well, put it plainly, assholes. But we're actually everyone here is pretty good. The community is very active on Facebook. Yeah. And Darren and I tried to get to all your questions and all your comments, just like we're going to do on Tuesday. The live episode of getting to hear your thoughts. Fuck what we say. You hear what we say all the time. It's about you and everything you want to say about this movie. Good, bad, worse, or I haven't seen it. Let's talk about something else. We'll talk about it all. Darren, anything else to say in closing?
Yeah, also on Tuesday, we're going to do, for those advanced Patreon members and tier 2 YouTube members, we're going to do a green room beforehand as well. So you get your opportunity to chat with us. Yeah, chat with us one-on-one and let us know what you thought of the movie.
Yeah. No holds bars. And there may be some spoilers in there, ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know.
Yeah.
Hey, well, this episode's a big fucking spoiler. So what am I talking about? What am I talking about? On that note, ladies and gentlemen, as we spoil the whole movie for those who haven't seen it but are watching this, as always, stick to the roads.
The best of luck.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.